It's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. And up next is newspaper review.
Our newspaper reviewer is here. Chukwudi Okoli Ugbaja is happy Easter to you, Chuks.
Same to Demola. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good to see you, Chukwudi. Good morning,
morning.
sir.
Good to see you
Welcome.
as well.
All right, so let's get into the papers straight away and we'll look at the headlines quickly this Monday morning. We'll begin with the Daily Times, and the Daily Times leads with federal government expresses concerns over delays by contractors handling Tinubu's housing projects. And that's on page 2. Above the masthead, we have 2027 presidency. North will decide who to support in 6 months' time. And that's credited to Baba Ahmed. That's also on page 2 of the Daily Times. Of course, the picture story here is that of Pope Francis. 88-year-old Pope Francis, who led the 2023 Easter Sunday Mass at the Vatican City in Rome yesterday. All right, away from that, below the picture story we have, we'll find you. U.S. orders Nigerians with cancelled visas to exit. That's on page 12. And next to that, NDLA intercepts cocaine consignments in religious books. Stop media manipulation, false narratives against Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB tells federal government. And in the red strip, on the front page of the Daily Times this morning, we have security forces raid bandit camps in Kogi. Government assures continued crackdown. Interesting. That's the much you can take from the Daily Times this morning. Let's see what the blueprint is offering. The blueprint leads with Easter. That's the kicker. Betrayers, politicians behind current security travails, and that's credited to CAN and ACF. The riders, Benue, Plateau, Borno, other killings targeted at Tinubu's second term. That's according to Arewa think tank. The clear killers, terrorists, Mark tells federal government. That's on page 6. Just below the masthead, we have this one. Tinubu's appointments fair to roll, says a mockery. And Nigeria's Anakoya breaks world chairs record again. That's on page 32. Above the masthead, we have 5 died, 20 rescued in collapsed Lagos 3-story building. That's credited to NEMA. Let's look downwards now on the front page of the blueprint. Below the picture story, we have global investors thumb up Nigeria's economic reforms. The writer urged sustenance of inflows to handle external shocks. TED Fund mulls 10 billion naira mechanized farming for varsities. Trump plans major cuts to U.S. diplomacy in Africa. That's on page 6. And of course, the report on NDLEA is also right here. On the green strip, we have Metawale tackles Governor Lawal over Zamfara finances and security. And that's on page 6. Finally, from the blueprint this morning, National Assembly developing legal framework for state policing. That's according to the Senate leader. Demola.
Okay, I have the Nation newspaper just above the nameplate of the Nation's newspaper. Ponzi scheme, influencers risk imprisonment. Details on page 14. Ship owners lease expectations on $400 million cabotage cash. Details of that story can be found on page 15. Then we have just below the nameplate, Tinubu Chiani meets soon over Niger ties. Tuga signs agreement with Nigeria counterpart. Then Tinubu's appointment most accommodating, says Omokri. Plateau Benue killings, state police back on front burner. Issue may return to NEC agenda this week. Senators developing legal framework. Details of that story can be found on page 4. The Pope Francis seeks end to global conflicts. Can Methodist prelate Kuka reflect on state of the nation? Details of that story can be found on page 4. Arewa think tank backs Sule's position on president's re-election. Details of that story can be found on page 6. Now, moving on to Leadership newspaper. Leadership newspaper, we have the Dara Emir Tobans, Hamza Sulaiman, Saudaki Kasa Hausa. Then we differ with Bakare but respect his views. The presidency. Details of that story can be found on page 17. Then just below the nameplate, we have SEC warns influencers, bloggers against promoting Ponzi schemes. Details of the story can be found on page 4. In Easter homily, Bishop Kuka urges Tinubu to end hardship insecurity. Northern leaders divided over 2027 politics. Details can be found on page 4. North will define direction in 6 months. We are non-partisan. ACF killings plot to frustrate Tinubu's re-election. Then we have police operative rescue 12 kidnapped victims. Details on page 7. Gunmen abduct 7 travelers in Kwara. Details on page 7. Ukraine war. Russia denies breaking Easter ceasefire deal. Defections hit APC, PDP in Gombe. Details on page 18. Chooks?
Yeah, Demo, thank you very much. We differ with Bakare, but respect his views. Yesterday when I saw his message, it was characteristically terse. That's Bakare for you. But if you read that story deeply, you get to where Daniel Bwala, that's the presidential advisor on policy and communication, I think. Yeah, the way he replied to it was quite heartwarming in the sense that I tend to recoil when people say things against the presidency, and some of his aides will come out with write-ups that don't quite mean a lot to people like me. We are people from the newsroom. We have our sheets of opinion concerning this. I like this kind of response. Managing even umbrage from your opponent tells us how much integrity you have as a person. But when you, this rat-a-tat machine gun, fire for fire, it doesn't really work. Fine, Bakare has had his say. The presidency says, oh, he was constructive in some areas, and but we differ with him. Let us learn that attitude. It's very good for us. I really appreciate it, and I thought I should mention it. National Assembly Developing Framework for State Police, Demona State Police, I say again, is a matter of time in this country. Let people dilly-dally. It's the only way we can get out of what is happening now. If we're afraid of excesses that could happen from the states, put in clauses concerning their operation. When the FBI steps into a matter in the US, state paratroopers retreat. We can't have that arrangement here. I think we need to explain to one another that state police is not against anybody, that governors will misuse that. I again say that was the kind of thing we're hearing concerning the liberalization of the broadcast license, till a military president decided we were ripe for it. Who is getting into a private station now to announce coups? Coup to who? You know? So I think some of the paranoia we tend to bring into how we run our lives. Baba Ahmed is saying that North will decide who to support in 2027. I think we have passed this stage of politics. What's going to happen is that in 2027, part of the Northeast will support APC, part of the Northeast will support PDP, part of the Northeast will support the LP, whichever parties vie for the
presidency.
Yes, that's what's going to happen. This thing about this region will do this, people should stop posing as if they're speaking for other people. It's politicking. Nigeria has passed that stage, happily too. I wouldn't like a situation where people from my place tell me, Chukwudi, this is the person we want to vote for. Let me make up my mind. How much education is it going to give us? How much water will run on from the taps? What security is he likely to give us? What are his antecedents? People should stop talking to us as if we are there waiting to be manipulated remotely. And I speak for every segment of this country. I mean, I'm speaking about things I want to happen to every segment of this country. Not that I'm speaking for them, please. so I don't begin to sound like a politician. Then betrayers, politicians behind current security travails. That's coming from the Christian Association of Nigeria as well as the Arewa Consultative Forum. That is not impossible. But then, government exists to anticipate even that which is evil from traducers, from people who don't like them. Your job is to expect those things and make preparations to counter them, because when you're in government, everything concerning intelligence, look, the things happening in Jos and Benue, if you know how much government knows about these things, what we're asking for is what is the will behind handling them. Government knows before you do certain things. The police in your community, they know certain things more than members of your community. That is how they are, arranged to work, programmed to work, so that they'll be effective.
If you say government knows before it happens, so why are they not nipping it in the bud?
That is the point. Well, it's not every time. Government is not God. But government knows half of the time when certain things are going to happen. That is what we mean when we say be proactive and not reactive. The Americans, the British, even the Chinese, they are very good at it. They know how to preempt one another in this committee of rivalry nations, if I may put that caveat on it. So it doesn't matter what people are thinking. A man can just, after a little contract and one fat lunch, come and begin to tell you that he'll end Nigeria tomorrow. Our job is to stop him dead in his tracks. That's the point I'm making. So let people not come tell us things that are not going to work for us. We tell them, we know you're capable of this, but we are also capable of stopping you because we have the instruments to stop you. Proactivity.
That is the state has the instrument.
Exactly. The state has the instruments.
Okay.
Let us use those instruments to stop troublemakers. Ahead of 2027, you're going to hear a lot of things that would range from the sublime to the ridiculous. That is how politicians are. There's one politician who has been throwing threats to the federal government. I've not heard from him uncharacteristically for about 2 months now. What has silenced him? Many of these people are just politicking, pulling relevance to themselves. Let us go beyond that and think what is ultimately good for that man in the street, the ordinary Nigerian. That's what this thing is all about.
Let's talk about the Easter. What's the atmosphere like? Chokes in your area?
It was inevitably low-keyed in my area because Bakudi,
what does Bakudi mean?
Bakudi means there's no money. You want to join people who tried to give me a bad name. They said when I went to Jos that the only thing I learned about Hausa was Nyariazo, which was not true. That was blackmail.
What's Nyariazo?
Yeah, I don't know what it means. So, please, I know some of these things, okay? That said, but Owowa, money go come after, no problem.
Owowa is no money go come after. Owowa is there is money.
You are one of my brothers. I know all those ones now. So let us please let our people know that if I cast a stone into the north because I think I'm from Delta, the person whose eyes it might meet could be my cousin who just traveled to the north only yesterday. Humanity is one. The things that bring us together were created by God. The things that divide us were created by human beings. Let us help inform people, bring about awareness to make some people stop thinking themselves what they are not in this country. Because that is the problem we have. Look at the Benue Plateau killings matter now. I was listening to somebody who was commander of Operation Safe Haven, which was in Jos when I was there. He said that the contending parties there, that the killings are mutual. That is just that a particular group seems to outgun the other people. I listened to him on television yesterday. He was commander of Operation Safe Haven, so he should know. And he said at one point that he even castigated some of the governors. What are they doing with their security votes? Vigilantes they are registered now. They are not illegal. It's just that their level of weaponry is limited. What are the governors doing with the security votes to make sure that these remote areas where policing is a bit difficult, that they help the police to get there? What vehicles are they buying for them? You know, Nigeria cannot be one goat everybody assumes because it is owned by so many people. Everybody assumes has been fed by either Mr. A or Mr. B, and the goat ends up not eating in anyone's household at all. It dies. We must love this country. The green, white, green should mean something to us. It meant something to us in 1960 when I was just 3 years old. I remember. What happened to that fire that burned in us? You know, it's really unfortunate.
All right,
what
many
we're
thanks.
doing to this
Many
country.
thanks, Chukudi. The producer says, you know, we should end this preview segment.
I should go on indefinitely.
No.
You're not very good at it.
Not exactly. But you see, there's this quote here that caught my attention.
Yes,
Maybe it would respond to the issue of no money that you talked about. The quote says, "It had long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment really sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things." So I hope that you go out and happen to things this week.
Oh, you've come to advise me on Good Morning Nigeria today, Abi?
I'm not advising you. I just liked the quote when I saw it, you know, and I just feel, you know, it would be a good start for someone. I mean, it's a new week. It's
someone like...
No,
I didn't mention names.
Let's concentrate on what you just said. Sometimes poverty is a choice. If you don't plan your life. You see, in Nigeria, we have this attitude of expecting that when time reach, God go do am. What they are saying there is that early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
So
the other time I was talking about the need for money sense to be taught to people right from the cradle.
Very important.
This program is also planned.
Oh, yeah.
So your time is over.
Oh, my God, that's below the belt.
He's always hitting me below the belt.
You have something to read out there.
All right, we'll take a break now. Many thanks, Chukudi, by the way. Just to let you know that once the conversation starts, you're free to send in your comments and questions, observations, and the likes on this phone number. It would also be displayed on your screen. The number is 0816-968-8126. So that's the number to contribute to the program. Send only text messages, by the way, no calls. The number again is 0816-968-8126. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the conversation. Stay with us.